regard to the question regarding the family, I'm extremely proud of my son Hunter. He has overcome an addiction. He's one of the brightest, most decent men I know, and I am satisfied that I'm not going to do anything. I said I abide by the jury decision, and I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
All right, so what you just watched is Joe Biden telling the world that he will not pardon his son. But in fact, he lied through his teeth and he did exactly what he said he wouldn't do, which is really kind of crazy when you think about it. Okay, so let's get into the statement Biden made that he released. Here it is. So if we read this, today I signed a pardon for my son, Hunter. From the day I took office, I said I would not interfere with the Justice Department's decision-making, and I kept my word even as I have watched my son being selectively and unfairly prosecuted. Without aggravating factors like use in a crime, multiple purchases, or buying a weapon as a straw purchaser, people are almost never brought to trial on felony charges solely for how they filled out a gun form. Those who were late paying their taxes because of serious addictions but paid them back subsequently with interest and penalties are typically given non-criminal resolutions. It's clear that Hunter was treated differently. It's funny to me how Joe Biden says this, but has nothing to say about Trump being unfairly prosecuted, right? They literally changed the law in order to go back and get Trump, but Joe Biden's quiet, right? He then goes on to say, the charges in this case came about only after several of my political opponents in Congress instigated them to attack me and oppose my election. Then a carefully negotiated plea deal agreed with the Department of Justice unraveled in the courtroom, with a number of my political opponents in Congress taking credit for bringing political pressure on the process. Had the plea deal held, it would have been a fair, reasonable solution of Hunter's cases. No reasonable person who looks at the facts of Hunter's cases can reach any other conclusion than Hunter was singled out only because he is my son. I disagree with that, and that is wrong. There has been an effort to break Hunter, who has been 5.5 years sober, even in the face of unrelenting attacks and selective prosecution. It's so funny they talk about attacks and selective prosecution when that's exactly what they've been doing to Trump for years at this point. It's unbelievable that they say this. And then he says, in trying to break Hunter, they tried to break me, and there is no reason to believe it will stop here. Enough is enough. Enough is enough because your son is being held accountable for breaking laws. Again, you're supposed to be strict. Let me finish this, then I'll go. For my entire career, I followed a simple principle. Just tell the American people the truth. That's a lie. This man has lied through his teeth countless times. Just like he lied through his teeth in the clip I showed you before this. He said he wouldn't pardon his son. Now he's pardoning his son. And now in his statement, right, about doing what he said he wouldn't do, he talks about telling the American people the truth. Anyway, they'll be fair-minded. Here's the truth. I believe in the justice system. But as I have wrestled with this, I also believe raw politics has infected this process and led it to a miscarriage of justice. And once I made this decision this weekend, there was no sense in delaying it further. I hope Americans will understand why a father and a president would come to this decision. You know, it would be more forgivable if you guys weren't selectively prosecuting Donald Trump and acting as if you're above reproach. But the reality is when the justice system hits you, you find a way to buck the system. That's exactly what's happening with Joe Biden. They tell us to follow the justice system. But if it's my son, I'm going to pardon him, right? Again, it's absolutely crazy. So now let's go back in time, and I'm going to show you this next clip of Biden's press secretary quite literally telling us that Biden will not pardon him.
Second one, would the president pardon or commute his son if he's convicted?
So I've answered this question before. It was asked of me not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, and I was very clear, and I said no.
Hey, let me go back to the first question of the briefing. I know you said not a lot's changed since yesterday and that it's a personal matter, but from a presidential perspective, is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
Again, you've also said several times that the president would not pardon or commute the sentences for his son, Hunter. I just want to make sure that that is not going to change over the next 6 months. The president's saying he would not.
It's still a no. It's still a no.
It will always be a no.
It's still a no. It will be a no. It is a no. And I don't have anything else to add. Will he pardon his son? No.
So yeah, you just saw her lie through her teeth. Joe Biden lied through his teeth. I mean, they literally just went out in front of the world and just lied, right? Just flat out lied. There's no other way to put it. Just flat out lied. Now, let's actually talk about what Hunter was charged with, right? So there are federal firearm charges due to 2018 gun purchase. Basically, he's got 2 felony counts for lying about his drug use on a federal background check when purchasing the firearm. In addition to that, you have 1 count for illegally possessing a firearm as a drug user or addict. The outcome of this, right? Hunter was found guilty on all 3 felony gun charges in June of this year. In addition to that, he's also got 3 felony tax offenses for failing to pay at least $1.4 million in taxes. And to me, that begs the question, like, what in the hell were you doing in order to owe $1.4 million in taxes? That's a lot of money for a 3-year period. You have to be making and so that in and of itself, very, very questionable. But yeah, I mean, it really seems like with Joe Biden, it's rules for thee, but not for me. They talk about, you know, the rule of law, but it seems like his son is above the rule of law. Again, and it's so crazy to me as well because they talk about gun control and making sure we keep guns out of the bad guys' hands. And his son lied on the background check, right? Got a gun that he wasn't supposed to have. But now it seems Joe Biden doesn't really seem to want him to be held accountable. He's going to basically wipe the slate clean and give him a complete and total pardon. Imagine if this was Trump's son. And then if you just think about it, name me one of Trump's kids that's like this. Name me one. It's also kind of interesting when you think about it. If this was Trump's kid, this would be everywhere time. It would be 3 times as big as it is now, right? 3 times. And the left is going to try to backtrack and act in, whatever. The reality is a lot of them are hypocrites and they talk about the justice system working, but then when it does work, and it wasn't, to my knowledge, it wasn't like it was Republicans running the entire thing. When it does work, now it's time to pardon him or we're going to find excuses for Biden. But we will go out of our way to change the law to go get Trump. Again, a lot of these people are hypocrites. Many of them you will see are going to be supporting it, acting like it's the right thing to do. The reality is many of them, you just have to accept the fact that for them, it's rules for thee, but not for me. And then once you kind of accept that, it'll make it kind of easier. But it's still just absolutely kind of crazy to think about this. And if Joe Biden was willing to lie about that, what else has he been lying about? I mean, it should make you think, because we watched this man and his press secretary come out in front of the world and say, we will not do this. Then he literally did it, lying through his teeth. Anyway, like, share, and subscribe. That's all I got for now. I will see y'all in the next one. Have a wonderful night.